thanks for joining me. This is your astrology forecast for March 2016. It's really nice to be with you today. March has two eclipses in it, so usually when there are two eclipses it makes the month a little bit turbulent, chaotic. Let's see what's going on for you specifically. The first thing that's going on is that on the 1st of March, Saturn, which is in your 12th house in Sagittarius, starts to form a square aspect with the Sun in Pisces in your 3rd. So in terms of spirituality, you may be questioning your path, you may be questioning what you're doing, and that also kind of combines with the information that you've been digesting, the information that you've been seeking out, the information that you've been processing. And I get the sense here for the first 12 days of March that you're in a real kind of questioning mode and you're really assessing things. Am I looking at this right? Am I not looking at it right? Does this make sense? Does that not make sense? So you have the luxury and the ability to really question what you're hearing, what you're exposing yourself to, and it's a great time to learn. On the 2nd of March, another really long-term aspects formation appears in your chart. On the 2nd of March, it stays there until the 18th of March, and it connects the Saturn and the Sun that I've just mentioned, but it also brings Jupiter in. And Jupiter is in your 9th house of education, okay? So any practical moves that you make at this time to kind of broaden your realm of knowledge, to broaden your scope, to kind of expose yourself to anything that you're not familiar with, that's really going to be helpful. That's really going to offer you a lot. You're in a place where you can really make sense of things and you're questioning them and you're being analytical, and I think you could really develop as a person, develop spiritually, and really have more understanding of what you're doing on planet Earth. I mean, that's so useful. The whole point of being here is to advance spiritually. So you have the real capacity to do that at the beginning of this month. On the 3rd of March, there's a yod in your chart. It connects your Venus, your Uranus, and it meets Jupiter there in your 9th. So what I get is that something to do with humanitarianism, something that comes to you via another person, especially someone who's like family, is really going to be the educational material that you want. Okay, so for instance, if one of your aunts or nephews is a Krishna and you don't know anything about it, look into that. That might be a good fit for you, but it comes in that kind of way, through someone who's in your life already. On the 5th of March, Mercury goes into Pisces, and Mercury is the planet of communication. The planet of communication goes into the sign of spirituality, Pisces, and it sits in your 3rd house of communication. So that's really what this is all about. That's the main focus here. That's the bulk of March you're going to be concerning yourself with, is spiritual information, spiritual knowledge, and how you can apply that to your own life to make things better. On the 6th of March, Mars goes from Scorpio into Sagittarius in your 12th. So that sense of scrutiny, that sense of immovability, that sense of being stuck and not having the answers, that is really kind of blown up now by Mars, because Mars is the soldier. Mars rules Aries, the fire sign Aries, which is about moving forward, and it's very comfortable in the fire sign of Sagittarius. It is about moving things forward. And the 12th house is spiritual information, it's spiritual knowledge. So the fact that that moves into that sign now, it really means that the soldier, what he wants, drives things forward, and you make even more progress from the 6th of March than you've made so far. And you've already, that's your biggest aptitude right now. So Mars pushes that forward even more, and you'll see that spirituality is like an 11 out of 10 for you at the moment, because you're just really exposing yourself and you're understanding different concepts, and they're making sense to you. It's also a great time to clearly define your own concepts, your own way of seeing it. You know, it doesn't always just need to be what other clever people kind of write about and what they think. What do you think? Do you have a unique perspective or a unique experience of God? And if you do, why not talk about it and make it concise so that other people can access it? On the 7th of March, Jupiter starts to sextile the Ascendant. Your Ascendant is in Cancer, in your 7th house. And again, that's beautiful. Cancer is very much about being loyal, being connected with the feelings, and you discover information that really resonates with you on a soul level. So again, the whole first week of March, please spend with your head in a book somewhere, or speaking to someone who's got a different spiritual path than you, because it will really enrich you. The new moon occurs on the 9th of March, and that's in Pisces. The new moon pulls in energy in, and it pulls this Pisces energy in, which again is spirituality, which is being self-sacrificing, which is being of service. But it's also a solar eclipse on the south node of the moon. Solar eclipse on the south node is about letting go of things. And in between this solar eclipse / new moon, we've got Chiron sitting there, right in the middle. And Chiron is the wounded healer. So this is a time when you can let go of past disappointments, especially when it comes to spirituality. If you were brought up as a Catholic and you were made to feel guilt and shame all the time, and like there was something wrong with you that you needed to atone for, and that there was this big judgmental God sitting on a cloud pointing at you saying, damn you, go to hell, and that made you feel bad, and you felt like you didn't want anything else to do with the church, and that was painful, then that's something that you can let go of by replacing it with a spirituality that actually works for you, and that's more of an experience than some sort of rigid belief system. On the 10th of March, we've got the sun going into Aries. Not the sun, the moon going into Aries in your 4th house of family and people who are near and dear to you. So the focus shifts a little bit from your own research. I mean, you're still very focused on that. But you're also, I think, you feel like you're on the right track. You feel very encouraged around the 10th of March. And you want to lead the way and bring other people along with you who you care about. Make sure you don't set yourself up to be disappointed. There's nothing like a person who comes from, let's say, a Baptist family who discovers the Krishnas and says, this is the way and the light, and who says, come on everybody, let's go to the Krishnas, and the rest of the family go, that's going to be disappointing. So don't get overly excited. But on the 11th of March as well, the moon conjuncts with Uranus. Uranus is about your way of doing things, your unique perspective, your approach. So rather than try and pull other people in with you, focus on this new thing that you're discovering and really apply yourself to it and make a commitment for yourself, and that can become a really strong fixture in your life. I would dissuade you from immediately bringing every loved one on board with you, because this is about your own personal journey. This is what you believe and what works for you and what you care about. And if the rest of your family don't, then that's just going to cause you unnecessary grief. So I would suggest you go on a personal journey here. On the 12th of March, Venus goes into Pisces, and Venus is the planet of love and beauty. Also in Pisces, it gives you a great appreciation and sense of wonder when it comes to spirituality. And as far as this chart is concerned, you're really you're being blessed here with this internal ability to have some sort of spiritual experience, spiritual awakening, and then to educate yourself and to progress in a practical sense by having access to information and people to speak to and opportunities that will lead you down the right path. So this is very much about discovery. And Venus is really opening things up, and it shows that you will find something that you love and care deeply about. On the 13th of March, we've got the moon starting to trine Jupiter and the North Node. And the moon is in Taurus in your 5th house of romance and fun and children and innocence. And you feel very, very, I think you feel rejuvenated and refreshed by something that you've discovered on the 13th. And I think you feel like there's hope, and there's the possibility to transform who you are and to kind of be reborn into something new. And that's you know, that's what the spiritual search can be all about. The potential of, can I remain myself, but can I be a freer, more enlightened version of myself that isn't burdened and run down and stuck in negativity and depression all the time? And that's really what the search is about, and I think you do very well finding that. On the 15th, there's a Grand Cross. Grand Cross is 4 squares combined to make a big square, and it feels like you're being pushed and pulled all over the place. The spiritual communication is very important. Again, learning, but at the same time, work is going to demand things of you, and also family or past limitations or past beliefs that have said you can't do that, you have to do this. You know, for instance, if you're I don't know, if you're called Aziz and you're from Iran, you're going to find it a little bit more challenging to be the head of the Astrological Association, for instance, if that's the path you choose, because culturally you're going to face a lot more opposition from people near you and from the hours of tape that you have in your head. You know, your tape are going to say, you're Iranian, you need to believe what we believe and you can't step outside of that. Same as anyone, you know, so whether you're from Germany or America or South Africa, we all have these cultured tapes that are playing inside our heads and that prevent us from doing things. And now on the 15th of March, all of that's going to come up for you and it's going to make you feel a little bit panicked. So don't try and resolve everything on this day. Just keep things simple, focus on what you've discovered and what's meaningful to you, and don't worry about all of that other stuff. I started doing this work quite a few years ago, and I started making it very public on YouTube with the tarot cards. Now, I didn't feel comfortable. I'm not saying that my family would have disapproved, but I didn't feel comfortable letting them in on it straight away. Whether that was my own shyness or whether I thought this is too fragile, I don't want any criticism or anything like that. Who knows why it was. But I didn't feel comfortable doing it, so I didn't. And that's your prerogative. You don't need to let every Tom, Dick and Harry in on the fact that you found something new that you believe in and care about. It's your thing, and I think at the beginning with anything new, it's important to kind of take care of it a little bit so that it isn't ruined and killed by other people's criticism and ideas. Because people are opinionated, okay? People will always tell you what they think. And they will always think that you care. Always. 17th of March, there's a triangle of friction, okay? So that's 2 sesqui squares and a square, and they connect your Uranus, your Moon, and your Mars. And this is interesting. I think you actually get some sort of spiritual message or some sort of, again, something comes by another person who is very close, near and dear to you, who opens a door. So don't isolate yourself and, like I said earlier, just put your head in a book all month. People who you do trust, you know, people who are confidants, who you can share things with. And who you know, this is important, who you know are supportive of what you're doing. Share it with those kind of people and they can offer you insights that will be helpful. So rather than just be quiet completely, be more discerning about who you share this information with. So the chart has kind of modified what I'm saying here, so that's great. Okay, so choose carefully, but it doesn't mean you have to be completely silent and keep it to yourself. On the 18th of March, the moon goes into Leo in your 8th house, and this is interesting because the moon is what nurtures you and what you feel comfortable with on a soul level, and the 8th house is the house of the other and mysteries and secrets, and it stays there until the 20th. So I think again this is a real period of discovery for you where you're fired up by what you learn, the secrets that you uncover, the hidden treasures within your studies, within your search, and you really become very, very excited and enamored by what you discover. On the 19th, there's a grand trine in the chart, which is in fire. That's all about inspiration. That's all about a new doorway, a new path that has presented itself to you, and the potential that lies on that path. On the 20th of March, the moon starts to quincunx your Mercury and your Sun. Now your Mercury is still in Pisces in your 3rd house, so the communication and the spiritual communion is still very important. But the Sun has moved on into your sign of Aries here in the 4th house, and that's urging you to take action. That's urging you to move forward. So I feel like the research period is coming to an end. I feel like you found what it is you're looking for, and you're able to put those things into practice now. On the 22nd of March, Mercury goes into Aries, so that follows suit now. So the focus is less on spirituality and spiritual communion, and it's more about the real world and what excites you and what you can do. So the switch is flipped from inward, being on the inward position all month, getting information in, discovering. It's now flipped to the outward position, and you're now producing information, and you're getting excited about things, and you're sharing. So that's a real shift. On the 23rd, the full moon occurs, and the full moon occurs in Libra. Full moon is a culmination of energy. So the full moon in Libra is when the Libra energy is showered over the planet, and you enjoy that Libra energy. And for you, Capricorn, I don't think you particularly dislike Libra energy. I think you do quite well during that time. And this is occurring in your 10th house of career. So this raises a whole new theme which has been very, very quiet. The top thing in your life has been spirituality, and family relationships have also kind of been a theme. Now, during this full moon, work starts to become a theme, and it's very harmonious, and it's very positive, and it's a part of your life that is really supportive to you. So the full moon isn't just a full moon, it's also a lunar eclipse on the North Node. So it's interrupted, and the North Node eclipses pull energy in. So it blossoms, it showers its energy, but then it pulls more energy in to you, and it showers you more, and it's like that meditation when you imagine energy flowing up from your root chakra, up through your chakras, up to the top of your head, and then it explodes outside of you, and then you pull it back up, and then it explodes, and you pull it, and it's like it forms a circle, and that's what this is. And Libra is harmonizing and charming and positive. So if you have the potential to go for a job interview on this day, or to start a new job, or to just go to work on this day, it is a fabulous, amazing day for work. If you're trying to start a new business, also amazing, amazing, superb day to start a new business, because that would be the birthday of this business, and that would have that consistent kind of energy running through it, and that would be a blessing and super, super positive. So the focus is shifting now really to make work a very positive aspect in your life. On the 24th, we've got a T-square here between Uranus and the Moon in your 10th, and Pluto. So this is interesting now, because we're going away from all this spirituality topic, and we're heading straight into the topic of work. And you're going to feel inspired to make some changes to your working life, maybe as a result of what you've learned during the month, this new enlightenment, this new you that's emerged, to make changes to your work that maybe either make it more compatible with the new you, so making some small changes, or making big changes. Maybe a whole new career, a whole new job. So the 24th, expect those kind of themes to be floating around, but you're going to feel inspired to alter the situation in some way. On the 26th, the moon goes into Scorpio in your 11th, and the moon in Scorpio is very much, you feel very comfortable keeping things to yourself. So I really feel, I get a sense that you're almost smug here, and that you're happily sitting on something and keeping something to yourself, and it's almost like you've discovered what it is you're looking for. I mean, for me personally, in terms of spirituality, I I grew up in a very regular kind of evangelical Christian home, and I felt excluded by that religion, and I rejected it, and I was agnostic for a long time. But then there was a certain period in my life where I was obligated to look for something greater than myself to get a sense of, so that I could continue to kind of live. And I went on a search for God. I did that. And I remember saying to a very close friend of mine, it's like, you know, I've actually found God. And it's something, I think even in the Bible it says if you look for it, it will be shown to you, or something like that. You're not going to go looking and looking in vain forever and ever. You will find something outside of yourself that will help you and support you, because that's, I mean, it's everywhere, you know, it's right here and it's right there and it's right here and it's in here and it's up here and it's everywhere. So sooner or later you hit on it if you keep looking. And you found that in March. So if you're watching this in February and you're really at a loss and you feel like, oh, you know, some people can have faith, lucky them, they're just more gullible than I am, I'm just so intellectual and academic, there's no way I could believe in God or something bigger than myself, then just suspend that judgment for a while and try again, and you might be surprised at what you find. Because faith isn't the exclusive domain of the uneducated, like a lot of people seem to think. A lot of people seem to think that if you have faith, then you either are refusing to take action and make your own life better, so you're absolving yourself of responsibility. Other people think you have to have some sort of delusion or be in denial to have faith. But there are ways of reconciling the way you think about your life and to bring a faith into that is really supportive, because that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to support you and nurture your soul so that you have the strength to go on. Because I don't care if you live on a yacht and you have everything is fabulous and wonderful, sooner or later life gets hard for everybody. And you need some sort of support. So that's the strong energy until kind of the end of the month. And then at the end of the month, the moon and Pluto are both in your sign of Capricorn. They sit there in the first house. And it really, again, it focuses on making certain changes and tweaks in your life. And you become interested in doing that at the beginning of April. So that's what I got for you in March. I hope that's been useful. If you'd like a private reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Just click on the readings tab and you can see the types of readings that I offer. Remember to subscribe to the channel. I'll be with you next month for the April Capricorn forecast, and I'm also on the YouTube channel daily for the daily tarot reading. So if you haven't looked at those, check them out and see what you think, and I'll speak to you soon.